Guys, it's Yankee Prepper. Today I'm going to show you how to make our homemade pizza. Now, we're big pizza eaters. We have pizza once a week. It's a big family get-together for us, and we have a lot of fun making it up. I want to say that when my wife and I first got on board with this prepping thing, one of the first things we wanted to change or attack basically was a plan to eat well, to eat better, but cheaper. Because if, at the very least, we're both looking at the numbers again thinking, we're going to go into a depression here. And this is going to be one of the best skills that you can put together. I buy the best ingredients that I can to make these pizzas, and it's still much cheaper than whatever you can buy at your local pizza chain or grocery store. Now, I buy fresh mozzarella cheese, which is about $7 to $8 at Sam's Club, and this lasts for about 3 meals. I use of course, our homemade canned tomato sauce, some olive oil, yeast, flour from Sam's Club, and spices. But the idea is, if you had to do this, if I had to do this once a week, make pizza, I wouldn't do it. So what I do is I make giant batches of the crust, and I cut them up into individual pizzas and freeze them. You can freeze pizza crust for months, take it out an hour ahead of time, and you've got it. Tastes fresh. It's as fresh as the day you made it. I also make big batches up of the sauce ahead of time, and then I put them in their appropriate size and then take them out as I need them. So if you do that, I guarantee you that it'll make making pizza a lot easier on you. It's very quick just to take this stuff out an hour ahead of time and then put the pizzas together with with your wife or your kids or whatever. Now, there is an investment to be made in this, though. You're going to need a wooden pizza platter. This will help you move the pizzas around when you're making them. You'll see what I mean on screen. And you're also going to need a pizza stone. This will really get your crust nice, and it helps stop the pizza from burning. So this is about, I don't know, 15 bucks, and this is about 10. But it'll pay for itself easily in the long run, probably within a month or two of making your own pizzas, because it's so, it's like $1 or $2 a pizza to make this up ahead of time, even buying the best ingredients you can. So anyway, I'll stop talking and get on with the video. This is great stuff. It's healthy for you. That was one of our goals, and it's super cheap. This is a great meal for good times and bad. The pizza crust recipe I'm about to share with you is kind of a family secret. And I'll tell you what, I've never seen another recipe for pizza crust like it anywhere else. And it is delicious. The story behind it, I don't know if it's true, but the story behind it is, it came from an Italian couple that had moved here from Italy and opened a pizzeria joint up outside of Chicago that my parents had befriended. I grew up in a predominantly Italian neighborhood or population. Even though I'm not Italian, we learned to eat a lot of Italian foods and learn to like them. What's not to like about Italian food? Anyway, let me go through this with you. It's 2.5 cups of water, half a cup I warm up to 100 degrees, a couple tablespoons of yeast, 1 egg, a little bit of olive oil, 5 cups of flour, and 1/3 cup of sugar. Now, I've left the sugar out before and it's not as good, but I just thought I'd add that in there. The sugar is part of the original recipe, but you can leave it out and still get a real good recipe. Put a little bit of sugar in, I should say, maybe a teaspoon or a tablespoon, and then dump your couple tablespoons of yeast in there and stir it up and let that bloom. After 10 minutes, I got a pretty good bloom going here, so I'm going to pour this in, my 5 cups of flour. I'm going to take sugar, put it in my water. I'm going to attempt to crack this egg with one hand. I like to break it up in the water before I just pour it in. Good chicken eggs. Just mix everything up together. Pour it all in together. I'm actually going to add about a tablespoon of oil with that, and maybe a tablespoon of kosher salt. And when I'm mixing this up, I fold it. I scrape the sides, but I kind of fold it into itself. And in the end, I'm guessing you probably use 5.5 cups, maybe even 6. It just depends. But add it until you get that right consistency for dough, where it stops, being sticky. Okay, get your breadboard out. Put some flour on there, and then dump it in. I hope that you can see the texture in that. You want it just to stop sticking. And then we're going to knead this up. And I'm going to need both my hands to do this, I'm sorry. I like to pour my flour out around it and then knead it. Now you're going to have to knead this at least 50 times. You like pizza? Yeah. See to it. And what you're doing is folding everything into the middle until you get a nice round top. Fold it in on itself and then stick it in a lightly greased pan. We got to let that raise just once for about an hour. Well, after an hour, we got a bunch of pizza dough.
Yep.
Want to punch it down, Sarah? Okay, take the big dough ball, cut it into 4, and then cut those in half as well. Place to the side the ones that you're going to use tonight, and then freeze the rest for future use. Now the sauce is where you can really experiment. I'm always adding different stuff. And but I've got kind of a base recipe. Put in I don't know, 2 or 3 tablespoons into a big hot saucepan. Okay, that onion's been frying. It's translucent now. Been sauteing that, I should say. Now I'm going to add in 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, and this literally will take seconds. Okay, after about 20-30 seconds, man, you can really smell it. It's just a wonderful smell. I've got some canned tomato juice from 2008, believe it or not, and I'm going to add the whole thing. And at this point, you got to keep simmering it until you get it to the consistency or thickness that you want your pizza sauce. Now I'm going to pick some fresh basil to finish this sauce off with, because I love basil and tomatoes. So just simmer it with that basil chopped up and thrown in there for 5 more minutes. And then if you want an artesian look or old country look, you would just use this pizza sauce like this with the chunks and the leaves in there. But if you want it to look like a processed pizza sauce, you just use a blender, which I'm going to show you. Pour your sauce into the blender and just lick it. Now, I actually prefer the artesian look or that rustic look. I don't mind those chunks in there, but if you're not used to that, just stick it in a blender and blend it right up. And then again, I'm making big batches so I can freeze the rest and just use what I need now. And this, guys, just smells unbelievable. Okay, the coals are red hot, and that's what you need. I've got a nice pizza stone here. Okay, roll your dough out. Okay, spread your sauce and use fresh mozzarella. Don't use that already grated stuff. You can always put do traditional like cheese and pepperoni for the kids, and we'll get into the real Italian pizzas later on for adults. Okay, for doing pizza out on the grill, you got to keep this in mind. You got to have super high heat. Don't think 325 like you get the cheap pizzas. You got to have this thing at like 400, 500 degrees. It's got to be just hot. And then get one of these pizza wood trays, because that makes life a lot easier. Put it on your pizza stone. Oops. And we're minutes away from awesome. Who wants pizza?
Me!
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. La 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 la. You can put arugula salad and herbs on your pizza and parmesan. Oh, come on. Does that look good or what? You can mess around with, of course, your own ingredients, but we like to use, you know, greens and asparagus, and I've even put tuna on here. I like anchovies. You know, you can experiment to what you like, but it is so delicious, and it is so good for you. And I'm guessing that each one of these pieces are probably, even my mouth is watering, even with buying the best of ingredients that I can. You know, the most expensive part, of course, is the cheese, but they're probably less than, you know, $2 a piece. Okay, this is just another one where you'll have to take my word on it. Give this a try, and if you fail the first time, because it's easy to fail, but once you get it, once you get that sweet spot, it's good pizza. You'll like it, and it's cheap, and it's super good for you.